In this demo, I will show some tools and techniques I would say every developer should know and use while developing, especially when working with front end. And why is that? Well, it often feels that the web or the apps we use on the web are made for people who are sighted, who can use a mouse, who have good fine motor skills, and sometimes it even feels like they are for users who could be described as power users. And it actually reflects that, like, those people who are making the web. We often forget that not every user is like ourselves. These tools and techniques, they help to catch these so-called low-hanging fruits when it comes to accessibility. And what I mean with low-hanging fruits is that in sites and apps there are issues that could be actually fixed with fairly short amount of time, and when they've been fixed, that would increase the accessibility of the site already tremendously. Of course, using these tools and techniques, it won't, like, I'm not promising that your app will be like 100% accessible. I just have to say this right here. But my goal is actually provide a starting point here, because I think, like, when it comes to accessibility, the most crucial part is to start caring, start learning, start fixing. So that's why I'm demonstrating these tools here, because because my time is fairly short. I will be showing just a couple of tools, and I won't cover all. I know that I would love to go deeply into these details, but I'm trying to keep this one short here. So yeah, it won't cover all. You've been warned. So all right, let's dive in. So first, I'm going to show you a testing tool, automated testing tool called Axe DevTools. It's a browser extension. And before diving into that, I want to say a couple of words about automated and manual testing tools. So automated testing tools, they are good catching things that can't be caught programmatically. So things like if an element has alt tag or not. So like it's easy to take, just like it takes the image element, and if there is alt tag, it doesn't react, but if there is not, then it reacts and says that, hey, this alt tag is missing. But they aren't actually good for finding issues within those alternative texts. So they really don't know if that alternative text is descriptive, for example. So they are good in catching things that can be caught programmatically. That's a hard word there. And this tool that I'm showing, it's a, like I said, it's a browser extension, and it's from firm called, or company called DQ, and it utilizes this Axe core, which is used in test integrations for example, Jest or Cypress IO. So these tests could be integrated into like testing conventions if you are using Jest or Cypress. And I'm gonna, like, I'm using this browser extension because it's more visual, and at least for me it gives like the information in a format that I can understand better. So that's why I like it, and I don't really have React Finland's code on my computer, so I can't like demonstrate it that way either. So yeah, I'm gonna scan the page. And all right, we found 49 issues here. And from here we can see that there are 49 issues and 27 of them needs review. So it's possible, like for example, the background of the hero there is like it's a pattern and not like one color. So it's possible that that's one of those issues. Like you need to actually check if that color contrast is high enough, because it's hard to deduce from the like code because of the background. So yeah. And here it also says that there are like one critical issue, then 20 serious issues, one moderate issue, and then 0 minor issues. And under here it lists all issues first, and then like all the issue types. And then like the amount of issues within that type. And I'm gonna go straight to the critical one. I know that it's this zooming and scaling should not be disabled here. And I'm gonna scroll down and we get more information about that. Here is a issue description that says ensures meta name viewport does not disable text scaling and zooming. And then it shows the element location and then element source. And here we can see that the content of this meta tag is with device width, initial scale 1, maximum scale 1, and then minimal UI. And then it gives some like possible fixes. So here it says that fix the following: maximum scale on meta tag disables zooming on mobile devices. And this means that if you are using React Finland's site on mobile, you can't zoom in. With like, if you are using your fingers to do this pins and zoom thing, you can't zoom in. And why it's a problem? Well, a person who has low vision might rely on just like the native zooming of web page to see what's on that web page. So if you disable zoom on your web page or app for mobile, then like it's unusable for people who are actually relying on that zoom. So that's like one reason why not to disable that zooming on mobile. And that's why, like, because it's preventing people using the site. That's why it's actually critical. Next thing I'm going to demonstrate is navigating with keyboard only. And why is that? Well, not everybody uses a mouse for using the web. There are people who use only a keyboard, or people who use devices that emulate the keyboard. There are also people who use voice commands for navigating the web. Then there are screen reader users who also rely on keyboard interfaces. Though it's a like bit different how they navigate, but still the same rules apply. And I'm gonna open the for attendees page here, just because it has little less links than the other ones, so it's well, faster to navigate through. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go through the site, try to, like, if I find an element that I should be able to click or interact with somehow with a mouse, I'm gonna try to do the same with a keyboard. And what this means is that, well, I'm going forward with pressing a tab. If I want to go backwards, I'm gonna use tab and shift, or shift and tab. When I encounter a link, for example, I can activate it with an enter. And if I encounter a button, I can or I should be able to activate it with enter or space. So let's see what we have here. I'm gonna press tab and I'm gonna start from the beginning. So now the focus is on the about link here. I'm gonna check if there is a skip to content link. Okay, there is not, because the focus went straight to the browser's browser controls. So right, skip to content or skip navigation link, it's essential to have, because, well, if you are using only a keyboard for navigation, it's like it takes time to go through all these navigational links. For example, here is, I think, like 17 links you need to tap through before you actually reach the main content. And if you have to do that on every site, then like it's 17 tabs every time on every site before reaching the content. And especially if doing that tab or pressing that tab, if it's painful, well, 17 presses, that's really painful then. And well, especially if the navigation has even more items, it's even worse there. So yeah, I'm gonna go through the navigation. Okay, yeah. One note here, the tab order should be like the same as the visual order. So like here we first go through the navigation items and then jump to the React Finland logo. I think in this case it's still operable, but it can be really confusing if the tab order is not the same as the visual order. All right, I'm gonna continue. Here are some links, and then there are links to sponsors. I'm not gonna test all of them. So yeah. Okay, now I see a button. Next one's button. All right, I can try to oh, I accidentally pressed a tab, but tab activated the button and opened this model, and not like I wasn't pressing enter or space here. So that's a bit confusing. I'm gonna try to tap to the model. Okay, so I pressed tab and it reloaded the model, so it's not actually working. I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna press escape to get out from there, and I'm gonna press tab to get to the next place, and it seems that we have a keyboard trap here. So I can't, now that the focus is on the button there, I can't go forward. It seems that I can't go backwards. I try refreshing the site. No, I can't refresh the page. Okay, so this is really a problem. I think I would need to close my computer or restart my computer in order to get back to the site. That's really a problem. So please don't activate anything with just key press, which is here it activates with a key press, and it seems that any key press does the trick. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna use the the mouse to get out from there. But yeah, I'm gonna test the link quickly. So I'm now in the about thing and I'm pressing enter. So we got to a page that says organizers. In this demo, I've shown 2 tools or techniques you can use as developer. So we looked into automated testing with Axe Dev tools, and also keyboard navigation or testing keyboard navigation. If you're interested in learning more, I have actually written a blog post. You can find it from tinyurl.com/developers checklist. If you're interested in learning more, there are some other checks. They are actually manual checks for, well, improving accessibility of your site or web app. So, yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much for your talk. Yeah, I want to know if there are any questions. Please leave them in the chat. The first thing that I wanted to ask. Oh wait, there's a comment. Okay. First thing that I wanted to ask is like, what is the most common, like, blaring, like, in your face error that you usually see in websites?
I need to choose one.
Oh, you can go with 3. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, I think color contrast issues are one of the most, like, well, the number of them is the highest usually with the, like, when I'm testing with Axe. But then when I'm testing with keyboard, one thing that comes to my mind is this problem with divs. Well,
the div soup. You don't like the div soup?
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, no, I don't like that. But like, you know, there is really a problem when you create a button out of a div and then you forget to add all those roles and like event listeners or like for the keyboard navigation and everything. So it's really frustrating when I like test a site and then like I'm just tapping through it and then I see that, okay, hey, there is a button, I'm gonna try to press it, and it's really like something that I really need to be able to press. Then the focus just like jumps over it, so that's really frustrating. And one thing that's personally a problem for me and I see too often are these autoplaying animations or videos that take like lots of space, and maybe they have a video where like I saw this one video where it was, I think a drone was filming and it was going fast towards the ground, which makes, I think, everybody feels a bit sick when they see it. But for me personally, because I have a disability that affects in a way that those kind of things make me feel disoriented or dizzy or like,
my wife has
feeling
that.
Like
if she sees something like that, it makes her sick for like an hour or 2 hours. When something moves really fast on the screen and she's not expecting it.
Yes. Yeah. That's something that's like, those other things I can live with those, and like they aren't usually a problem for me because, well, I have pretty good sight and I can use a mouse. But the third thing, that's, well, a personal problem too. So yeah, I would say those 3.
I would say that also that a lot of the websites that have that don't actually support reduced motion as well. They're just like, here's your video, enjoy your video. We have questions that are not mine, so that's good. Okay, yes, thank you. How to convince your team and the business side of operations. Accessibility is something that has to be done. Fines.
Yeah, I hope that I had these like easy things to say that, okay, because of like this and this, and then everybody believes. But we are not living in a perfect world. But the like things that I usually use are, well, money is a good factor because, well, you know, people with disabilities, they do spend some money too, and a lot of money. They're like, people around them spend money, and if your like site or project or app, if it's not accessible and the competitor's app or site or whatever is, they will go there and use that one. And then like other ways to convince is to bring some real people into discussion. So if we are talking about, well, if it's something about motion or something, then I can just like refer to myself and yeah, I get sick and everything and tell my story. But then like trying to bring some like real people into conversation. And I like the one thing I wish I could use every time that, hey, you know, it's the right thing to do, and like these are human rights and everything. That would be awesome, but I've had these conversations with a product owner where like they understand that we should be doing this, but yeah, we don't have time, we don't have money, and then like they just decide not to spend any time or money towards accessibility. And then in some cases, there is the law aspect. Like in Finland, at least right now, I could use the law card for public sector websites, but I'm not going to go into there because I'm really waiting for Leni's talk about this. So, yeah.
Okay, so we have, I think.
One
No,
other
no.
quick thing. Avis, I say all those things you just said for convincing. Another thing is companies don't like to be first, but they also don't like to lag behind. And I feel like today more and more organizations, global organizations, are doing accessibility, and there's people to point to, and companies like Microsoft who want to have their clients be accessible. So kind of like the shame factor, like everybody else is doing this, why aren't you? And then the other thing is everybody has their corporate values and their policy statements, and our accessibility stuff usually fits right in. Like you talk about diversity and inclusion, but if you don't have accessibility, you can't have disabled employees. You know, you talk about we're a people company. You know, everybody has their thing, and trying to fit accessibility into that can be a useful tool.
Yeah, shaming. Yeah, it usually works.
I didn't
Like
mean to
making
say it
people
like
see
that.
the thing they say. No, but I'm actually serious. Like there is a lot of problem in mostly startups. I think that is like we say these things, but we don't actually mean them. Like we have these things that we follow, like we say that we follow, and if you throw it back in their faces, they're like, "Oh yeah, fuck, we should do this." Next question is that, so assuming that one person uses HTML5 tags properly and buttons, do you think that area tags are still important?
I can use my favorite answer to this. It depends. So,
Oh, no.
like, you know, like, there are cases where they are actually like you should be using them because of some technical things and how some, for example, screen readers work, you know, like in one way and the others work in another way. So like in those cases, it might be needed. And then like it depends on the widget you are building, for example. Well, if we are talking about buttons, that's usually not necessary. But if we are talking about something more complex, then it might be. And actually, it usually is the case that you need to use these ARIA attributes or states or properties. But then again, don't overuse them. So this is like a, it's not an easy answer or like yes or no answer. So yeah.
Yeah. And the final question that I have for now is, do you know a website which does accessibility really well?
I know, but right now I can't remember any. So,
this can go to anyone. So. That's fine as well. Leni, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I'll mention my website, not to brag, but just to say that my developer, Natalie McLeese, is really, she's a small shop. She, her company is called Digital A11Y, Hire Digitally. and she has a lot of resources for developers on her site. And my site tries to be WCAG 2.1 AAA because I was asked to make the site that way to help the standard get through. It's a simple site. I don't sell anything, so it's not applicable to everyone, but I like to point it out because I think she does a really good job, and everybody I refer her to, I don't know if you all know her, but she's really great to work with, and she's very generous in sharing her knowledge, um, and it shows it just like a small shop. She's just herself. She can do it. The website is lflegal.com.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that is all the questions we have for now. Yeah, thank you so much for your talk. I did learn a bunch of stuff. I don't know why I'm started in English. I've been told it wasn't possible to start it in a second language, and I feel lied to. I don't like this feeling.